Hello and welcome to this demonstration of the Bronze Spending Plan. This is a spreadsheet that I created on Google Sheets specifically for teenagers or college students in mind to track your income and expenses. You don't have a lot of bills at this point in life. You have mostly income and expenses, so you don't have to categorize everything. And it's a very simple system for tracking your money. There's only two tabs on this, finances and final. You can see that at the bottom. So let's get into this and I'll show you exactly how to use this system. My name is Jeff and I created this system on Google Sheets. So you will need a Google account to use this system. But today let's just walk through and how to use it. So you'll see on this opening tab, you'll notice in row 2, it shows your total income and expenses. There's 1,000 for income because we have rows of income at the bottom. We don't have expenses just yet. So what you'll do is you'll enter your income in advance. So, and as I'm doing this, we're in May. So I'm going to start this in May just to show you that you don't have to start this in January. So let's assume that you get paid every other week. And in this example, let's just say you're a restaurant server. So you have paycheck plus tips. So May 2nd and then May 16th, and we'll leave it at $500. You'll want to change the amounts too, but we'll leave it at $500. So now that you have 2 rows of income and you need 2 to pick up the date range, you'll highlight from columns B through D, and you will pull this all the way down for the rest of the year, and you're just going to guess how far that is. Click autofill, good guess, and then that's the end of the year. Now let's say you have a second job that you only do in the summers. And for this one, you also get paid every other week. And let's just call it summer seasonal just to keep it simple. Again, you need to have both rows because for picking up the date range. Let's say for this one, you get paid $400 or $800. No, $400. No, this is every other week. Sorry, $800 every other week. A little bit more money. It's seasonal, maybe a little more in demand. But again, this isn't. We're not going to pull as far here because we're not going as far. And actually, we didn't want to go into September. So if you go too far, no big deal. You can either type over it or you can clear it out. So we'll clear it out. And that's your summer seasonal work. So for the rest of the year, and you can see in just a matter of minutes, you know exactly how much money you expect to earn for the rest of the year. Now, this is not pre-tax income. This is after taxes. This is what you bring home. We're not worried about taxes with this system. Now we're going to enter some expenses. And we'll start in May, since we started this in May. I like to pick different dates. So I'm going to pick, we got paid on Friday. This is a Saturday now. Let's say you want to put $100 a week into savings, just a general savings account for yourself. So now expenses get entered in column F or column E, which is debits. And again, you'll highlight everything and you'll pull it down for the rest of the year. Okay, we've got a couple more to go. That ought to do it. Yep. And so now that's your savings. Let's say you also have a new car fund. You want to buy a car. So we'll call this new car fund. And let's just say 150 every other week for that. And again, you'll highlight, pull it down. And you'll notice too on row 2, that is locked, so it doesn't, you can always see that in view. So you always can see where your income and expenses are. So right now, your expenses are getting there, but they're not really caught up just yet. Let's say you have some fun money. You want to save. You want to save a certain amount every week, and this is just for you to go out and do what you like to do. It's basically like guilt-free spending. In fact, that's what I want to call it. Let's call this guilt-free spending. So think about how much you spend in a week on whatever it is, and you're pulling that out. And whether that's in cash, whether it's a debit card. I like to do mine in cash. I know not everybody is cash. I know some people see that as a little more old school. But to me, it's easier to manage that way. And we're going to pull this down a little farther. And we can go one more to the end of the year. And that's your guilt-free spending. And so now you've got a car fund, your guilt-free spending, and your savings. So we're not really close to the end of this yet, but we've got enough information for it to be a good example. Now let's go to the final tab. And now this is where everything comes together in date order. So before we get into the numbers, I want to show you a couple lines here. Row 1 is your, you'll see in the middle it says budgeted year end pointing to the left, actual year end pointing to the right. So your actual year end will always update. This as a cell F1 will always update based on what you have in the spreadsheet. So you don't have to touch that. But once you finish your preliminary budget and you get everything set how you think it's going to go, what you'll do is you'll take that amount. So let's say, for example, this was finished. We would want to copy what's in F1, and you can just retype it or copy it either way. I actually like to type it because it's actually a formula in F1. So type the number there, and you want to enter the date that you completed your spending plan. So let's just call it today's date, May 25th. And that's what you came up with for your budget. Now in row 2, it's always going to say today's date, which is May 25th as I'm recording, and then the balance on that date. So when you scroll down here, on May 19th, guilt-free spending takes you to 9/19/24. Nothing happens between then and May 30th, and so that is your today's balance. Okay? And you can see this puts everything into date order now. The one row you will want to change is on row 4. You'll want to update your opening balance before you start as well. So whatever the balance how you have in your account, your checking account, that's what you'll want to enter here on cell D4. So let's say you have $691.45, and now you can see the balance is updated, including here in cell F1. But this puts everything into date order, and this is why I like to use different dates for everything, just because you'll see some different dates. So once you have that done, you're all set. And then you'll continue to come back to this spreadsheet and update anything. So let's say on May 2nd, you got your paycheck and it wasn't $500, it was actually $521.36. It cleared the bank, put the check mark there, and that just lets you know that you've already reconciled that with the bank. It doesn't do anything to the spreadsheet, but it lets you know that you've noted that cleared the bank. And when you go back to your final tab, now it does say $521.36, and your balance updated as well. So it's a really easy system to use. I think you're going to like it, and I wish you well. I hope you try it out. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I look forward to hearing about your experience in using the Bronze Spending Plan.